Hi, this is Chris, and this is a video that I've had requested a couple of times. I did say I'd do it a few months ago. It's on replacing the seals on a average run-of-the-mill eBay type airbrushes. It's basically the same on most brands, the Iwata, the Steenback, the cheaper ones. A lot of the seals are in the same places. Size wise, I'm not 100% sure. I know some of them. I have changed a few in the past on different brands, and the seals are the same size, but I can't guarantee it. This one happens to be a Vida 130. I know the Vida 180, 186, several others. There's this non-branded one. They're the same, and on this one, another non-branded one. They're all the same, more or less the same seals. The only thing that varies on some, the main packer bush, some of them they use O-rings, some of them they use Teflon bushes, but they are interchangeable. If it's got an O-ring, just replace it with the Teflon packer bush. Lasts you much longer. It's much more resistant to lacquers and cellulose paints like Alclads, and that will last you a lot longer, and price wise they're super cheap anyway. So right, I'll just go through it. I suppose I might as well start from the rear and work forward. Things that you need first, or may need. This is always helpful. Lots of diagrams on Google. If you just search Airbrush spares or something, a lot of the companies give you a strip down so that you can actually order the correct part. At least it gives you a name, and it gives you locations of where the O-rings go. That's always useful. At least you have an idea then of which one you may need to order. Or the other alternative is, like I've done, you just buy the complete set. You can either replace the one that you want or all of them. I'll just take all of them out and do it that way. If you've got the O-ring as the main packer bush, which is the one that the needle goes through, these are the alternatives, which are PTFE bushes. This one happens to be for the Steenback, but it does fit. You can replace it on all of these because I've done it. This one also fits in the Neo. Several people have done it. You know, I tried it first, and they have actually used them, and yes, they do work at a fraction of the cost. These are less than £1.50. Got them from, I might as well show you, aircraft.net. Brilliant. Next day service, really helpful, so definitely worth. They sell spares for all brands, well, all the branded types. The eBay ones, obviously, we know brands, it's a bit more difficult, but if you're after that type, like if you go for the Vida spares, this one and all the spares that I use were from BARTSHARP. He normally carries all the spares, so try that if you do need to. Right, what we'll do, we'll strip it down. I'll show you where the seals are in the first place. If we unscrew the rear part, now I'll show you the drawing. Here it's showing part 22, O-ring for handle, which is there. This one doesn't come with one. It's not designed to be an airtight seal on this part, because we don't get, in theory we shouldn't have any air going in here. I think it's more of a to stop it shaking loose. Also, if you unscrew the locking adjustment screw, there's also one there. Again, it's not designed for an airtight seal, it's more designed to stop it shaking loose. Obviously if you adjust it, you want it to stay where you've adjusted it. The O-ring's the easy way to do that. So there's that seal there. Sometimes a seal there, not always a seal there. In the kit, I presume it does come with a seal. The only part that's a problem. You buy this set of seals and it doesn't tell you which one goes where. So that can be a little bit of a problem, because obviously with no drawing of the seals, you're thinking, well, which one goes where? Oh, what I have noticed, there we go, there are different seal sets, so find out which one is appropriate. That's a 001, that one's an 015. I presume that was, I don't know whether that was the other one. Oh, there's the other one. That was a 15, that was that same seal set as that one. So just check on what the seal set if you've got the eBay type airbrushes. So next thing I'd do is remove the needle, undo the chuck nut, move that down a bit so you can see. Do it over something, whereas if when you drop the parts you can find them again. Deadly, especially with the O-rings, they'll go flying out. Remove the needle. If you find like that it's tight, it doesn't want to come through the main bush, what that normally means, we've got a build-up of paint on this side. It wasn't cleaned out absolutely spot on. It just happens over time. Now if you do force it through, pull it through, it will come through, but as the needle's travelling through the bush, because of the build-up of paint, it will damage the bush. We will do it really, if you've got the O-ring, it will really knock the O-ring around. It won't take long before the O-ring starts leaking. So if you've got a situation where it's tight to come through, remove it from the front. I know it's a bit more hassle, but it pays off. So remove the needle cap, first one. Then you've got the nozzle cap, which is the next one along, carefully. Now on some you will find a seal on this part. You don't on this particular type, but I have known it on some. There's a seal on there. Spanner to undo. There's different size spanners that come with different ones, so, and it should only be finger tight. Just unscrew and remove the nozzle. Then you can push and it will just come straight through. Now if you look, you can actually see where the build up, that's obviously where the bush runs normally. Definitely not a leaking bush, there's no paint that side. That's just shine from where it's been going backwards and forwards. There's the paint, and obviously with the bush here, as you pull, if you pull it through the rear, it's quite rough there, it will damage the bush, so take it out the front. I know it takes longer, but in the long run it's worth it. Now we've got here the actual valve body. Now there are a couple of seals on the valve body, so we'll take that. Very rare these go, but I'm not saying they don't. So then we can remove the trigger, and then the dreaded little part, the lever guide, come on out. Normally they fall out when you don't want them to. There we go. Now this one probably needs a good clean, but now I might as well remove the guide, the chucking guide, but there's no seals on there whatsoever, so you don't have to worry about that part at all. There's only one part left in this body, and the body's completely stripped. Inside there you've got a stopper, which is, if you look at 14 there, it's threaded, that you screw in, and then there's a locking screw that goes through into a hole in the stopper. There's no need to take it out if you've got a screwdriver that will actually fit down there. If you haven't, you may have to take it out to be able to remove the packing bush. So that's it stripped down. I'll show you some tools which I was going to show you at the beginning, but I've missed that part out, that you may need. What would I use anyway? Right, I've showed you spanners, removing the nozzle, some brushes for cleaning it out if you need. You might as well give the airbrush a good clean at the time while it's stripped down. I'm not going to, because to tell you the truth, none of the seals have gone. I'm going to attempt to put the seals back in, save ruining them, but if not, I've got a packet here, I'll just have to replace them. It's just a demo to show you how to do it. So we've got brushes, we've got like the cleaning rods. Though these are useful for here when you've removed. Don't push it through and into the bush. Make sure the bush is out first, otherwise you'll ruin it. But you can't always get a brush in there. Make sure that's clean. We've got the cleaning tool for the nozzle. It's like a very, very sharp reamer that you can clean the actual nozzles out with. This one's just an electrical screwdriver that I've taken the insulation off. The plastic insulation, I've broken it off, and that will go in straight in to undo the packing bush. Some thin nosed tweezers, they always come in useful. A few other things for cleaning it while this pot's stripped down, because if there's no seals on there, you can use cellulose thinners. That will remove all the paint. If you've left any seals on, it will ruin them, so don't use it if you've got O-rings, it will ruin them. Some alcohol and water, IPA and water, with a little bit of glycerin in, just for washing parts. And if I've used either one of the other two, I'll swill them off with screen wash or Windoline. Just acts as an airbrush cleaner, so that's that. So now we'll go through, we'll start with the body, the seals that are left in the body. There's nothing left in the front on this actual type. Once you've removed the front, it removes all the seals with it. So then the only one left is actually, you can actually see there, the black O-ring in the centre, and that's what the actual trigger plunger goes through. So you need a good seal between that and that. Otherwise, what happens, you'll end up blowing air past the trigger, so the air pressure will be dropping. You won't be getting the same air pressure in the gun, so you need to make sure that's a good seal. So as you press the trigger down, air comes through those two holes in the valve, and you want it to go through that hole that you can see slightly at the front, through here and across the nozzle. If not, it'll go straight up and come out the top where the trigger is if that seal's gone. Also, I've found if you have the packer bush fail and you're using like cellulose or lacquers, you'll get it run down here over that O-ring. It'll start dissolving the O-ring and the O-ring will go sticky, and you'll press the trigger down and the trigger will stay down. It'll get sticky. It will also leak air, but also you'll end up with a sticking trigger. So what we'll do, we'll attempt to remove that. A few things that you can use. I use an old needle. Just take the very, very point off so you don't stab it. You can use tweezers if you can get out with tweezers. Cocktail sticks are they tend to snap too easily. So what we'll do, we'll attempt to get this O-ring out. This one is one of the more fiddly O-rings, to tell you the truth. You just have to, it's located in the lip. You've got it doesn't show you on here, but you've got a recess, like and it drops into a recess, so it is a little bit fiddly. And I've only ever been able to get it out from the bottom. Now if I'm going to ruin a seal, whoop, there we go. That's what I say about being careful, because they fly out. There we go, there's that O-ring, and that's what goes. Actually, the way you can tell that it's still okay, if you put it on and it's not loose, that's perfect. That's sliding. No, once it's in there, it will actually tighten it up slightly, so that's still fine. I'll leave that there. So that's all that you can actually do. That now is just a metal body with no seals, apart from this packing bush. Like I say, that could either be a Teflon one, which are the best, or it could be an O-ring, which don't last very long. So like I said, you can actually swap them over. what you do then, screwdriver goes straight down the back and you just feel for the slot. If you look at 13, which is what compresses the O-ring or packing bush and keeps it in place, things are rolling off the table, you'll feel it screwdriver go into the slot and then just unscrew it. This table can't be straight, everything's rolling. Before I lose things, put them in there. Because once they're on the floor, you won't find them again. I just unscrew. Now what you'll find is if it has been leaking, this will be very difficult to unscrew because the paint will be in the thread. So unscrew it, if it goes tight, screw it back in and just keep working it. It's only brass, and what you'll do, you'll just shear off where the slot is and you'll never get it out. Then the airbrush is scrap. There's the part that you screw in there, and in front of that will be the bush, so there's that part. Now to get the bush out, the only way is to put the needle in backwards, an old one preferably if you've got one, and just push, and there we go, there's the bush. So that's it, that's completely stripped down, no bushes, O-rings or anything left in that body. Now you can soak that in thinners or whatever, it doesn't matter how strong a chemical you put that in, that it's not going to ruin any seals, so you can give that a really good clean at this stage. Here we've got the valve body. Now there are two seals. There's this one here that when you screw to the body, this seals to here. So there's that seal. It's when you tighten it up. That's why everything only has to be hand tight. There's no need to tighten it with pliers and that. You will just ruin the seal and leaking. That seal, you remove the same. Another way I've found, if you don't want to use that, if you get a pair, these long thin ones, and you do that, generally you can get the seal to come off like so. It's going to be awkward, this one is. Tends not to stab it, you see, like and just work it off. There's the seal. Make sure there's no marks on that. No, that's fine. I'll put that there. I can change it later. Now there's one more seal which is in the valve. That's where these long, thin, pointed tweezers come in. If you look inside, there's what are they calling it? 25. No, it's just saying you 25 and 26 trigger plunger O-ring, which is the O-ring, valve body O-ring pass. So neither one of those really. What if you look? There are two cutouts either side. You drop those into the cutouts. It's like a car tyre valve, and just unscrew. Then you will remove this part here, and then if you tilt it up, you will get a spring. Push that, and then there's a plunger, and there we have another O-ring. Let's say what I have just noticed in this set, we haven't got that plunger O-ring. As you can see, I have opened this, I may have taken it out, so it may be, but I'd check that one just in case, because that one is very, very small. There's not a problem with it, so I'm not going to take it off, but same sort of thing. When it's this small, you might find you will ruin it taking it off, so if you know it's no good, you've got nothing to lose if you have to cut it off and then drop a new one on. And then just work it backwards. Well, what I'm going to do, just going to lubricate it Now there's a few things you can use. I'm using glycerine. You can use super lube or any airbrush lubricant. You put the plunger back in, the spring. This is probably the fiddly part. I know it's going to happen. So there's nothing wrong with this airbrush. I'm going to lose a part. Demoing it. That's it. We've got it. And all you do is screw that back in. Make sure it goes in all the way. If it doesn't go in all the way, you won't get the full pressure. That's it. And then just make sure it's nice and free and it plunges. Yep, that's fine. Then you just measure the one that you've taken off against what's in the kit, and again just drop a bit of, doesn't do any harm, lubricant there. And just feeds back on. So that's the valve body, 2 O-rings done. I think you can buy the valve bodies complete like that though, with the O-rings on if you want to, but obviously it's much cheaper doing it yourself. We've now given this a good clean. It's ready to assemble. First one would be to put this O-ring in here. This one is a bit of a pain. Bit of lubricant. Drop it in, and then you've got to try and lip it back in. It's easier to take out this than it is to put the new one in. It's going to be even more difficult for me to do it at the moment because I'm trying to do it so you can see, but it's making it awkward for me because I can't see. Sometimes once you've got the one part lipped underneath, it's not too bad. And what you tend to find, once the O-rings are a little bit old, they tend to go a bit more like plastic than rubber, which makes them more difficult to put back in. So it's just an old airbrush, so I'm not going to waste my seals on it if I can help it. You know, then you get to this stage where I am now, and you're thinking, oh, I just wish I had to change those seals, because there was nothing wrong with that one. I think that one has just got too much lubricant on it, it's just slipping too much. Just try and grab it in. Let's want a bit of lube off it. It's I can't grip it to push it back in. Sometimes they'll just go in first time really easy. Other times, like this one's going to be, it's going to be a pain. But like I say, this one is generally the awkward one. Just trying to get it in without damaging it, you see. This quick video is going to turn into an hour-long video because I can't get this sealing. Now this is one where I wish I hadn't put so much lubricant on because it goes in and comes back out. Gonna play me up. But this is what happens. It's no good watching a video where it all goes to plan, because it doesn't always go to plan. And the best part is there's nothing wrong with this airbrush, so done these within seconds before. Got you, it's because everyone's watching me. Luckily this one doesn't go very often. As long as the main packer one doesn't go too bad, this one shouldn't go. I need 3 hands. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it so that I can see, because it's cross. Right, we finally got there. After a phone call as an interruption as well, we've finally got there. So it's in. I'm going to make sure it's well lubricated. Right, we can start with the other seals. Right, on some we also have a seal here, others we don't. Now looking at this one, it is showing 2 seals on this drawing, but obviously it's not on this one, but we can put a seal on there. Let's see whether we can. Oops. So it won't hurt anything, it's just, but I know it hasn't got one. It may have had one, because I know there's ultra thin seals on those. Really, really fine. If you look, that's the one that they put on there. So this one's working fine and it hasn't got one, so see if we can get it out of the packet without losing all the others. There we go, very, very fine. It probably had one on, but taking the nozzle on and off so many times it has probably just destroyed it. And then just put a little bit of lube around that anyway. So now we have got the nozzle. Now the nozzle, when you replace the nozzles, they actually do come with seals, but I have in one set somewhere, it's not this one, I have seen that seal. I'm not even going to attempt to change that one. It can be done. Let's have a look. No, it's not in these packs, but when you do buy the nozzles, they always come with a new seal on anyway, so I've never known one go. At least then the seal isn't going on to dry metal, it's stretching, and just tighten that up. I mean, just finger tight, really, really finger tight. You don't need anything else. So that's that seal, the front, that seal. We've got the nozzle back on. Now we'll go and put, you can do this in any order. We've got the packing bush. The way that I test them, get the needle. I'm going to clean the needle first. It's I'm going to use a bit of cellulose thinners because I can dry it off. It should just fetch that off straight away. That's it. If you run your finger around and you can feel anything that's not, if it's not super smooth, what I'll do is just polish it. This is fine. So what I do is I get the bush, put it through the needle, and if it does that and doesn't just go and drop all the way down, if it holds itself, it's still okay, it's fine. You can tell when they've gone, they just go up and drop straight off, so that one's fine. Now to put them in is not the easiest job in the world. You can use your needle. If you've got a protective cover, put a cover over the end so you don't bend the end. When you buy needles, they usually come with one of those, and I keep it, so what I can do, I can just put that over and it'll just, means I won't stab myself, I won't bend the end. So what you do first of all you put the part that holds the bush in place on, and then go from the rear and just, sometimes if I can get that further down, oops, it's come off. If I had to put the thing out, it would probably be really easier. Probably it'll just stop it falling off quite so easy. Put it in. Sometimes you can spin the needle and actually start the threads off enough. If not, all that you do is make sure it's down, take that out, drop the screwdriver down and gently tighten. If it goes tight, you've cross-threaded it, so do it. Turns a fair few times. There we go. Then you'll just feel it go tight. Just do it finger tight, no pressure on there at all. Needle again, just drop it through, and then just feel. The way I normally tell is if it falls off, like so, just need to tighten up just that little bit more. So just, I went a fraction of a turn. That's all. And try it again. That's got it now. So that's not falling out. Yep, that's it. That's fine. So you just want to make sure that you can feel it holding it. Right, now we need to put the rest of it together. We can drop the cap on. Finger tight again. That seal will do the job. No need to really tighten it up. We drop the end needle cap on. When we put the needle in, we're not sticking out and going to bend things. A couple of ways to do this now. I put this in first. A bit of lube just around the joint. And if you look on the bottom, whoops, run off. There's actually a cutout on the one side. The cutout goes to the rear. And just hold it straight and then just drop it through down that hole where you've just put the new seal. That's it. Just hold it in place. There's some stuff on the floor. That. Obviously my bench isn't level anymore. I've just got to try and find the spring. Managed to find that quite quickly. Now I'll just drop. This will only go in one way, and the cutout, the flat, is on the bottom. Then we've got this part. I've only put that in just to hold this in place. The actual, where it's bent around, this part pushes against the trigger. So pretty. That's in too far round. Then it's not quite right. And I'll push that just to hold it in place so it doesn't fall. Back out. Spring. Tighten that up. Now that will still fall out. until you've got the needle in. So then I'll get the needle, line it up through, and then feel it stop. Chuck it on. Make sure it's nice and free, fine. And then I'll put this on, because if you put this on before you put that on, it keeps pushing it out. Hand tight again. That's it. It's working. Now with this trigger, what I found is if you that has got that much. Now what you can do, if you want more travel, if you actually unscrew this slightly, what you'll find, you've got more travel now. So you can actually fine adjust it with. So that's entirely up to you. Let's just put it on. Show you. Oh, we haven't got the compressor on. We'll have to wait for the compressor to build up. While I'm doing that, I will drop the back part back on. Now you can actually put an O-ring on there if you want to. I'm not going to bother because it's not got to be an airtight seal and it doesn't fall off. Same as this O-ring on the back here, and you can replace that if you want to. I'm not going to, I haven't got a problem, but it's just the same as doing the others. So let's try. No, nothing sticking or anything. So you've got that much movement, but if you screw this valve in, let's get the they've only got a fraction movement. You've actually got more air but less movement. So you can actually adjust the air really with that. It's not adjustable while you're painting, but the more you screw that in, the more the plunger goes down and lets more air in, but you get less travel on the. What I'll do, I'll just drop a bit of this to wash out the glycerin that I've put on the needle and all the parts. You probably want to see it. I need something to spray against. There's nothing there. Probably can't see. So fine. No problem. So that's it. That's changing all the seals. It's not that bad. Like I say, the only one that plays you up sometimes is the one where the trigger goes up and down. If it's not playing up, don't worry, don't change it. So hope this was helpful. Any questions, just drop it in the comments or PM me and I'll see if I can help. And thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again soon.